All righty, let's do this. I can't wait any longer. It is the NBA trade deadline. We are doing it. I am Josh Engleman. I am here to break down everything that happens for the deadline over the next 2.5 hours. I couldn't wait any longer. It was supposed to be 1:30. I needed to do this now. I am too interested in what's going to happen. It's great to see everybody here. I'm excited to talk for hours about this. I love this more than just about anything else. So I hope you guys are ready. It's good to see everybody here. I know we're going to have a decent crew here today. We're going to break it all down. On the screen, you can see I've got my NBA Newsbreakers list set to update every 30 seconds on the right-hand side. I think that's going to be best for us. We don't want to miss anything. We're going to break things down in Excel with some advanced stats as it comes in. We've got salary cap sheets ready to go from Nate Duncan and Danny LaRue. We've got Spot Track open for contracts. We've got dunks and threes. We've got basketball reference. We've got cleaning the glass. We are ready to break it all down as it comes in. We've seen a few different deals pop up so far. Nothing too wild, nothing too crazy. I'm ready to go. Tank, the Chicago guy, says Ibaka to the Bucks, though. Yeah, I like that for the Bucks. Gets a little bit of Lopez insurance. Dante DiVincenzo probably not long for the Bucks. He's a free agent at the end of this season. Would have expected a little bit more to come back. They did get two second rounders, which helps a team like Milwaukee. They kind of use those picks pretty regularly. But yeah, let's I think we just need to get into this, I don't know what's going to happen here for James Harden and Ben Simmons. I have no clue. Apparently the Magic are waiving Michael Carter-Williams, evidently. That's not news. But we'll break it down, that's for sure. Does Ibaka have any legs left? Yeah, I think so. As a defender, sure. Thad Young is free. Yeah, I'm excited to see Thad Young make his way to Toronto. I think that's a good fit. I don't think Boston's really clearing out to make a deal. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think they were mostly just trying to get under the luxury tax. Very important for them to not be paying the tax. What else we got? I don't think Ibaka leaving changes anything for Hartenstein. I mean, Ibaka didn't play in their last game anyway. I think it's still Zubats out in front there. Man, this is going to be fascinating to see where we end up with this Harden saga. All right, we're already up to 127 people, 42 likes. Make sure as you're getting in the door, you're hitting that thumbs up. And I want to let you guys look at the top of the screen. This trade deadline special is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to awesemo.com/prizepicks-promo. You can get yourself one free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, along with a little bit of a bonus on your first deposit. We've got great Prize Picks tools on the website, but what I really want to do and really want you guys to know, we're going to pull up Prize Picks when we get some of these deals to see if you guys can quickly take advantage of some of the news that we're going to get. If we're going to get some guys ruled in or out, some guys are going to immediately look better for overs or unders. I'm hoping we can point you guys in the right direction for that kind of stuff. So keep your eyes peeled. When the first sort of legitimate trade comes in, we'll hop over to Prize Picks and see if we can find something that stands out. Red Skittles, where is Grant going? That's a great question, man. That is a great question. I'm not entirely sure. I legitimately am not sure. Atlanta wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. Chicago would make a bunch of sense. I mean, I know Portland's been kicking the tires on Grant. I'm not entirely sure, though. He's got to go somewhere. I think the Pistons are making a pretty big mistake if they don't offload him. I do think the Harden-Simmons swap happens. Would I be surprised if it got held out into the offseason? No, but I don't know. I just want it to be over with either way. All right. Do we have anything else going on yet? Not anything that I see. I guess Miles Turner will be out throughout the All-Star break. That's fine. That's funny. If you guys have any questions, obviously feel free to drop them into YouTube chat. I will be happy to answer just about everything. Yeah, Fidel, trading for Bagley has nothing to do with Jerami Grant. Marvin Bagley is not a replacement for anybody. He's bad. But I don't know. Oh, I mean, Philly would be doing backflips if they could pull that off. SMP, I'm putting that up on the screen. Yeah, look at that. That looks good. Grant scenario is Harden to Philly to buy a salary dump. Grant ends up in Philly. I'd love to see it. I don't know if it can, though. So, other Josh is asking, is there any way Westbrook can get offloaded except for a wall trade, like an Oklahoma City salary dump with some picks? No, I mean, he's not going to go to Oklahoma City. They don't have enough picks to do that. It would take a lot more than the first that they can trade. There's no way that it's going to be a salary dump. The one that we've been seeing bandied about is like Kemba Walker, Alec Burks, and something else from the Knicks going to LA for Westbrook. I don't know. I don't know if you can offload him until the offseason. Bulls need a rim protector. They do, but it's generally going to have to come from your center, and that's not him. Can Lyles end up starting in Sacramento? I think he's been in Sacramento already. He's irrelevant. Do the Hawks have enough flexibility to make a big move? It would have to be Capella going out, I think. I mean, they also have Gallo's expiring contract that they could swap off of. Do I think a playoff berth for the Kings is worth all this nonsense? No, this is the Kings are making gigantic mistakes left and right. Although I do like the Dante DiVincenzo pickup. I have no idea what Sacramento can get for Holmes. I have no pulse on him right now. A lot of questions coming in. Holy hell. Kim wants to know if the Bucks are done with that move. It's just going to be things on the margins. They can't do anything major. So whatever, if the Bucks are going to do anything, it's not going to be the type of thing we see coming. Preston, I'm glad you like that line. Yeah, I mean, if according to Legion Hoops is not a source, Thomas. That is not a thing that I want to be referencing at all here. Any bets worth taking advantage of? Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them. Well, I think we're going to see a lot of potential bets. We'll be looking at bets and prize picks throughout the day. I honestly have no idea what the Blazers are doing, Ty. They are sort of wide open, making themselves into what could be a cap team. You know, they could have $20 million in cap next year, potentially more if you want. Could I see the Rockets trading Christian Wood? Absolutely. I would not be surprised if that happened. There's no chance that they would take. So Zach Jameson asked, I saw a Westbrook and a first for Gordon, Nwaba, Augustine, and Tice. There's no chance that the Rockets would take that deal. Or at least they shouldn't. What big name that hasn't been mentioned gets traded today? I'm terrible at hypothesizing stuff like that. Because normally everybody's name that could get talked about does get talked about. So I don't really have one. I don't know. Bradley Beal, maybe? Who the hell knows? Can Golden State make any realistic moves? I mean, in theory, they can do just about anything. They have a ton of assets. I just don't know how valuable they are. Nick with the super chat. Russ to the Knicks. Make it happen for Kemba, Burks, and Fournier. Love the show. I mean, I think the Lakers would love to do that. Any Zion moves? No, not at all. Should the Grizzlies make a move? It depends what it is. Like, you kind of got to shoot your shot if you're the Grizzlies. And I don't know if that kind of guy is out there right now. Man, I can't even keep up with the chat. It's hard. You guys are letting these questions rip, man. Any chance of Simmons in the Celtics? I would be shocked. I don't really think that could happen. I doubt the Warriors are shopping Wiseman, but you're always listening. Chad, I actually think that the Timberwolves should do something. I just don't know if they have it. I was thinking Thad could be a potential option for Minnesota, but that's already done. Crispy Brunson to the Knicks. I get the appeal for New York. I just don't know what would be going back to Dallas in that one. I don't know why Dallas would want to do that deal. Yeah, evidently the Mavs are the favorites to sign Dragic, so there's that. I mean, they should trade D'Angelo Russell? I don't think that he will be getting traded. Steven, if they tried to move Naz Reid, I'm not even confident they would get a... I mean, he's like a really good backup. I don't think you're getting anything more than a second round pick. Do I think Harden gets traded? Yes, I do. I would be very, very, very surprised if Seth Curry is in a deal going out of Philly. He's the exact person you want to keep if you're trading for James Harden and you have Joel Embiid. I'm going to start booting every single person that tells me that Van Fleet is out. If you guys don't start using V's instead of F's, you're banned from this chat. Anything else popping up? Yeah, if this rumor that Thibault is the problem here in terms of getting this deal done, this deal is absolutely getting done. Per Keith Pompey, Matisse Thybulle is the holdup here. If that's the case, and it's just Simmons, Thybulle, a first for Harden, then you got to trade it. You should not be not making that deal because Matisse Thybulle is in it. That's insane. That is truly insane. Well, we're up to 300 people, 108 likes. I like this. Thomas, I would be shocked if Tyrese Maxey is ever in that deal. Well, there it is. Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and draft picks per Shams. There we go. I did not think they would include Curry because that fits. He fits too well. But here we go. It is on James Harden. Let's talk it through. Evidently, first of all, let's start here. Seth Curry to the Nets is a great fit now that they don't have Joe Harris. But if you run out a lineup of Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, that's 4 elite shooting options. And if you treat Ben Simmons like a pick and roll big, they are going to be incredibly difficult to slow down. Oh, Andre Drummond in the deal as well. Drummond heading out. Paul Millsap going back to Philly. I enjoy that swap quite a bit. Drummond, an interesting fit for Brooklyn. I don't think it matters all that much. But, I mean, let's talk through it. So, We know Simmons is on a massive deal. We know Harden's set up for an extension. I can't believe Doc has to get rid of Seth Curry. That's a wild one there. Wouldn't have expected it, but I don't know. It's the draft it's 2 firsts. The protections on those picks are going to be the most important piece of this. I really don't like getting rid of Curry though. I think that's, Curry's making $8 million this year, $8 million next year. He's 61% true shooting this season. I mean, that is for a shooter that doesn't need the ball at 18%. That's bold. But I guess you can't make Seth. I would have just been so much more likely to want to include Thibault instead. Trill Fate. I don't know why it's dumb to trade Drummond, but that is a very meaningless piece of business in this one. No, so Brian, I completely agree that you don't let Seth Curry be a deal breaker for you. That's just the guy that I would want to be on this team because he's the most accurate three-point shooter in the history of basketball. I mean, yeah, Harden's entire life has been spent not guarding anyone at all and letting somebody else take the best defensive presence. So I'd be surprised if Drummond's starting, but you never know. So let's think about James Harden here for a second. Harden owed $44 million this year. No matter what anybody wants to say, James Harden has a 28% usage rate this season. 59% true shooting is still fantastic. We got to be okay. Unprotected 2022 first round pick. So a meaningless first this year. We're talking about something likely in the 20s. And then a protected 2027 first round pick. Okay, so it'll be this year's first to the Nets, and then the first allowable first round pick after the pick to Oklahoma City conveys. So, I mean, obviously for right now, we're talking about nothing all that major for these teams. I think I'm fascinated to know, do we know how quickly Ben Simmons is going to be ready to play for the Brooklyn Nets? Because I don't know what the answer is there. I gotta pump a tweet out here too. I mean, I'm trying to catch up on what everybody's saying here. I'm really excited to see Harden with Embiid. I can't believe we got it as fast as we did. I'm really excited to have gone live early. Otherwise, this would have happened without being live, and that would have sucked. I just really can't believe that Seth Curry was in the deal. That's a great piece for the Nets. Cue the Kevin Nash meme. Yeah, I like that, Larry. I like that a lot. We'll see what Millsap has left. It's probably very little, but I mean, if you get to the playoffs, you're trying to play Joel Embiid 38 to 40 minutes in a game, so you're not really playing him all that long. Yeah, Solar, if you think Nash isn't a good coach and you should have played DeAndre Jordan more last year, I'm quite confident you would have got fired before Nash would. Okay, so here, let's do this. This is going to be fun. I'm going to put up a poll. Here we go. Here's a poll for you guys. Check that out. So don't be afraid to get a little bit of a vote in there for the deadline, because I want to know what you guys think of this trade. Ben Simmons is on his way to Brooklyn with Andre Drummond and Seth Curry for James Harden and Paul Millsap. Steven, I don't think you're realizing how big Ben Simmons is, man. He is 7 feet tall. He's a center. He's just unquestionably a center. He's a center in the way that, like, Nikola Jokic is a center. The Nets should not be playing anyone bigger than Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant when they're on the floor. There should not be someone bigger than those two guys. The other three guys should be Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, and some other shooter / wing. All right, so through 139 votes, or 150, we're basically dead even in the who won the trade question, with both teams winning being a decent answer. So it seems like everybody kind of just thinks this deal works. Solar, he has nothing left. DeAndre Jordan is worthless. The biggest problem for the Brooklyn Nets is that they had to give him that contract in the first place. I'm really, really interested in this. I want to see the way Ben Simmons looks with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving out on the floor. I'm fascinated to look here. There is no reason that Ben Simmons can't play like the evolutionary Amari Stoudemire did. Oh, no, that's an even better. He can basically be like a cross between Sean Marion and Amari for Nash. And I know that's going to sound like the biggest hyperbole, ridiculous statement ever. And I'm trying to take out the fact that Ben Simmons passed up on a layup because he's scared. I have to assume that that's not a thing. If he's going to be scared to take a layup in a big game, this is a complete moot point. But if we're just talking about the way that he fits on this team, if we treat him like a rim running five with 4 shooters, this team is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I like it. I really do for the Nets. But it all comes down to whether or not we're okay with thinking Ben Simmons is fixed here. I like it. And I like it for the Sixers. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think the Sixers gave up too much here. I think that this, I don't love 2 firsts. It's not a huge deal that this year's is going, but I like the deal for both sides, I think. I think Sixers gave up a bit too much, but if you're going to do it, you got to do it. And it's the Curry piece that really slows me down, because if it's the picks, it's whatever. I don't think it matters. I like this more for the Nets than I do for Philly, but I don't hate it for Philly. Whoo. Yeah, so Mark, I know you're joking, but like, Harden hasn't been bad this year. He just hasn't. I love it. I love it. I love that we're getting right out of the gate at 1 o'clock, basically. We're getting crazy. Oh, Dave Lochran in the house. Let's put that up here since I know how to. Wait, where'd it go? All right, there it is. Laffy says you kind of had to give up that much. Simmons would waste away. Embiid's window is limited. You couldn't win with their current roster. I agree. I think if you're including Seth Curry in this deal, feels like you should be able to get there without that second first rounder. But I don't know. You got to do it, I guess. You got to do it. If the rumors were real that Thibault was the holdup here and they had to switch that to Curry, I think they made a mistake not making it Thibault. But I don't know how true that actually is. But I think Seth Curry is a fantastic fit for the Nets. This is craziness. 650 people in here, 177 likes. Don't be afraid to hit that like button. I'm going to kill this poll at 270 votes. Basically a dead heat between Sixers and Nets for winning it. So that's good, man. That's really good. This is fun stuff. Sixers odds to win the title have improved mildly. No surprise there. Harden, Durant, and Kyrie played 16 games together across 2 years. That is really crazy. Really, really crazy. Rudy Torres, Thibault is not a young Danny Green. That's not even in the ballpark of true. It's not that I hate Thibault. I just don't think he's all that valuable for a team that's trying to space around James Harden and Joel Embiid. I think the Nets got a little bit more. I think the Nets win this trade. But let's be clear. The ambiguity on Ben Simmons is heavy. We don't know what he's going to look like. We don't know where he is mentally. We don't know if that's a Philly thing or a Ben Simmons thing. And we're going to find that out in a high leverage situation. Sandman, Seth Curry does not equal Patty Mills. All right, Brandon Katz, hit me with it. If Philly can add shooters in the veteran buyout market, feel free to name who that is instead of just making things up like you are. As if you just add a shooter as good as the most accurate shooter in the history of basketball. Seth Curry isn't just like a shooter. He's the shooter. All right, so let's think through it a little bit here. We know the contract situation for these guys. Obviously, Simmons making a ton. Oh, okay. So the Nets get an unprotected 2022 first, but they also have the right to defer it to next year, and a 2027 first, which we know is top 8 protected, and it rolls over or turns into 2 seconds and money. I mean, if I'm the Nets, I am absolutely deferring this pick to 2023, basically no matter what. I see no reason why the Nets would want to take the Sixers pick this year instead of deferring it to next year. I wonder when the deferral date is. I wonder when they have to make that decision. To me, there's no way I would ever take it this year. Detroit Tigers, I don't know if that's an actual question, but if it is, no, that's not going to be the lineup. If Laffy wants to be on this show, he can be on this show in 10 seconds. I'd be shocked, Brandon. I would be very surprised if Gary Harris got bought out. But would be a good fit for the Sixers, absolutely. Brandon, why would the Lakers be buying out a league minimum Wayne Ellington? Do you understand how buyouts work? You don't buy out a guy that doesn't make anything. You buy out guys that do. But based on everything that you said during the strategy show today, I shouldn't expect anything more than that. All right. What else can we take a peek at right now? Who wins a playoff series, the Nets or the Sixers? If the Nets are fully healthy, I think, oh man, I think it's the Nets. I think in these situations, I defer to who is the best player on the floor. And I think that's Kevin Durant in a playoff series. Huh. Well, let's do this. I've got this year's stats in this table. I know this is going to be hard to read. So let's say of guys that have played in the top 50% in minutes. So that's everybody north of almost 500. I think that's enough. And we'll say guys that are shooting greater than, we'll say 36% from three. And maybe we could take a look at usage on here anywhere. Like someone that doesn't shoot all that frequently. Doesn't look like I have usage on here. Wait, is that 3-point attempt rate? It is 3-point attempt rate. That's the wrong one. All right, shooting 38% from three. How many people are doing that? It's a lot, actually. Holy shit. Okay. So we can look at who could Philly potentially get if they wanted anybody. I mean, I don't know what it would take to get Eric Gordon, but I don't think they have the bullets in the gun any longer now that they just shipped out those two picks. But that would have been a really nice fit. There's your boy Seth Curry. Yeah, I don't see a lot of names of like really good shooters that are live to go here. No, Brandon. No. Just no. Where do I see the Sixers in the East now? So I think that's a really legitimate question. So let's look at the standings. If we're talking East, actually, let's go to 538. It's easier to visualize. All right. I think, ooh, man. I think I prefer the Heat and the Bucks to the Sixers. And I think that's probably it. I mean, they're unequivocally better than the Cavs. I think that's probably the case for the Celtics. Oh, man, I like the Celtics right now. I really do. I really do. If they can make a move. Oh, they did make a move. Holy hell. All right, let's talk this through. Boston Celtics trading Josh Richardson to the San Antonio Spurs for Derek White. That is a very interesting deal for both teams. One, what is going on in San Antonio? They haven't made deadline deals in like 16 years. They've made 4 of them in 3 days. Brandon, Covington is not going to Philadelphia. How are you so bad at this? Or do you just make this up to be bad, or are you just naturally bad at this? I can't figure it out. We got to talk through this Sixers move, or this Celtics move. That feels like a great pickup for the Celtics. Laffy messaging me. Let's hope that I don't have this on the main screen. If you want to hop in and talk about this, Laffy, if you can hear me, I'm in. Let me put my AirPods in. Let me get my AirPods on here for you, Laffy. I think we're going to get Laffy popping in a couple minutes. Talk a little bit of Sixers. I think he's pumped for it. Let me get him the link to the room. Boom, there we go. All right. So I think we're going to get Laffy here in a couple seconds. Okay, let's talk about this this trade for the Celtics here. So Jay Rich and a first-round pick for Derek White. Let's take a look at Derek White. Let's take a look at Josh Richardson, too. We knew Richardson was probably going to get dealt here. Michael, they didn't make room for a deal. This is a neutral play here. What are we talking about? They both make close to the same amount of money. Derek White is a positive 0.8 offensive player in EPM, in offensive LeBron and offensive Raptor. He's aggressively ranked high defensively, which is kind of interesting. +3 for EPM and Raptor, just 0.6 on LeBron. I tend to lean towards the defensive LeBron mark there. I don't think that we are going to look at Derek White as like the most exceptional value. Derek White's got a 20% usage rate this season, 56% true shooting. I like the assist rate. What I'm curious about right now is if we're about to see Marcus Smart get sent out. That would be fascinating because Derek White, I think, can slide into that Marcus Smart role. I mean, we don't care at all about Josh Richardson. Marcus Smart makes basically the same amount of money as Derek White. I would say Derek White is look at the comparison here. They're ultra similar defensively, ultra similar offensively. Derek White slightly more efficient on higher usage, same rebounding rates offensively and defensively. We've got basically the same assist rate. Obviously, Smart a little bit more high profile from a steals perspective, but Derek White a great shot blocker. So, I mean, unless you're thinking about going Smart, White, Brown, Tatum, Time Lord, which, don't get me wrong, I love it. I absolutely love it. I think that this is probably a decent swap if this is what Boston's looking for, because we know that Marcus Smart is not likely long for Boston. We've got they've been talking about getting off of Smart for a while now, which I think is completely reasonable. He's extended at 18.5 next year. No, sorry. 16.5 next year. 18.5 in 23, 20 in 24, and 21 in 25. I would not be surprised if Marcus Smart is on the way out the door here. Unless they just wanted to turn Josh Richardson's deal into Derek White, which I don't hate. But this just feels like you're opening up a way to get off of Marcus Smart. Derek White is basically on the same deal, only 1 year less. Boston's also sending Romeo Langford to San Antonio. I don't think anybody cares about that. I like the fit for Derek White. I really do. And if they're not trying to get rid of Smart, I mean, being able to play 34 plus minutes of Smart and White at the 1 and 2 is, I like it a lot. What is Derek White shooting from 3 in comparison to Marcus Smart? Let's find out. Derek White shooting 31% from 3. Marcus Smart shooting 32. Yeah, these two are really duplicative. So that's where I just don't. I mean, if they're just trying to do a talent ad and turning Josh Richardson into Derek White, I think that's totally fine. If they're trying to move these things around differently, I could see White being a Smart replacement, with Smart bringing back another shooter somewhere. I don't know. I mean, maybe, I don't know. maybe you think that having White and Smart on the floor at the same time is enough instead of trying to get somebody else, but this is going to be an interesting one to keep track of. Let's see who's I don't really know who's around Marcus Smart's salary. So let's take a look here. Marcus Smart is at $14,339 this season. Derek White just basically $800,000 above him. Are there any names on here that stand out that could potentially be gotten? Okay, so I don't think this deal would ever get made, but I'd be very interested if I were Boston in a Marcus Smart for Duncan Robinson swap. I think Duncan Robinson's gravity as a shooter and spacing would be really good for Boston. It would fit positionally. And then I think, the lack of good defense for Duncan Robinson is made up for the fact that everybody else is a plus defender in the lineup for Boston. I don't think that it's a Duncan Robinson move at all for Smart because I don't really see the Smart fit on the Heat. But Duncan Robinson is like sort of the kind of guy I think would make some sense here. Like it'll sound ridiculous, and I don't think the deal would get made, but like Luke Kennard would be a really good fit in Boston. If we're just talking about guys that can shoot, I wouldn't hate it. Philly should try to move Harris for Collins. Amazing. All right, so Boston's 2022 first-round pick is what's going to the Spurs. It's top 4 protected. Boston's not making the play, and so, what do we got going on here? Welcome to the stream, sir.
Hey, guy, how we doing?
What's up?
Oh, you're doing a good show, man. I mean, could you have gotten any fucking luckier to have this trade happen right like 20 minutes after you hop on?
I'm glad I went on early. It was supposed to be 1:30. I would have missed out on all the goods, man.
Got a lot of people watching right now.
I have no idea how many people are here, but they should hit the like button and then go sign up at Prize Picks by going to awesemo.com/prizepicks-promo. 924. Not bad. Yeah, hit that like button now that Laffy's here. People are going to be pumped you're in here, man.
Love you guys, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm stoked about this.
All right, I got to ask you. Do you like it?
I love it. Because look, they had to do it. I had messaged you in chat and I heard you talking about I was walking the dog and I heard you get to it. They had to do it, right? And then you have a lot of casuals. They're like, well, they shouldn't have given up Drummond. Come on, dude.
That's the dumbest shit ever.
Are you serious? Like, throw Paul Millsap in to back him up. Who cares? It doesn't matter who's in there. It really doesn't.
Drummond's going to play 8 minutes a game in the postseason at best if he's still on Philly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Embiid's playing 38 minutes a game. Yeah.
If they're not playing Joel Embiid 38 minutes a game, they're not winning shit anyway.
No, it's crazy. And that's kind of like, okay. Is Drummond fun is he the best backup we've had for Embiid in a while? Yeah. But it doesn't matter. None of that matters. You condense rotations down to 8 players. He's going to play, like you said, probably 10 minutes, 8 minutes. That's it. And he's Drummond, you have to separate what you can do with a box score and how you actually impact the game. There is zero positive impact removed with Drummond that can't be the void can't be filled elsewhere.
Grade it 1 to 10. 10 being the best trade you could have ever expected.
I'm not being a homer here, but you have to hear me out. I give it a 10 because Ben Simmons would. Listen to me, Josh. Listen, I think it's a great trade for the Nets too. I do.
You couldn't even just say 9, so I didn't have to laugh at you.
Here's why it's a 10, right? Here's why it's a 10. Screw your Olympic scoring, right? We're going straight to the top.
Yeah.
It's a 10 because otherwise Ben Simmons would have just wasted away. So it's a 10 because you had to make a move. And everyone said Morey can't make it. He should have just traded for Brogdon, right? Or he should have traded for Halliburton. Those guys don't move the needle enough to win a championship. If you're going to do it, you have to do it now. Joel Embiid is playing at an MVP level. He's currently favored to win the MVP, and rightfully so. So it's only a 10. I'm not saying the trade. Let me put it to you this way, right? If this was a trade where you didn't have a guy in Ben Simmons, a first overall pick, getting paid $33 million a year, right? If you didn't have him sitting and not playing and wasting away, I'd probably give it like a 7 or an 8. It's a 10 because you offloaded someone that was completely and entirely useless to you. I think you see what I'm saying here, at least.
Sure. I mean, it's basically nothing but a value add for the Sixers because Simmons wasn't playing. It looks
exactly. Great. And I heard you talking about who wins between the Nets and the Sixers. And I think, Durant's still the best player on the floor if you go 7, and you said if they're healthy.
Yeah.
We can't ignore if the Sixers finish above the Nets in the standings, Nets just lost like 9 or 10 straight. They got some ground to make up.
Dude, they're in the 7 seed right now, which means they would play 2 home games in the play-in that Kyrie Irving can't play in.
That's crazy. Maybe that won't be the case come playoffs. These leagues, sometimes the rules kind of change once you hit the playoffs and stuff starts to disappear a little bit, but
the NBA is going to have to cut a pretty big check to the state of New York.
Yeah. Well, can the Nets just cut that for him at that rate?
I don't know how big it needs to be. Joe Tsai better get the pocketbook out.
Yeah. But here's what I'm saying. Are we not forget about physical health. Let's talk about mental health for a second. If the Sixers face them and they finish above them in the standings, which seems very practical right now, that means Ben Simmons plays 4 games at the Wells Fargo Center where he couldn't play when he was on that team. Like, do you not think that's a factor here?
I mean,
seriously,
it has to be. I just don't know what to say about it at this point.
He tried to fake COVID to get out of Game 7 against the Hawks.
Do you think that Ben Simmons is going to have another issue with not shooting the ball?
Well, dude, you got almost 1,000 people watching right now. Good, you got over 1,000 people. Good stuff, man.
Hey, we do. We do.
Yeah, that's true.
We got a boost.
Why would it change? Why would he just start shooting the basketball? Unless I'm missing.
Hold on, and I don't mean he's going to just start letting it sail from 3. If he's willing to take a layup
in Game 7 of the finals in a 1-score game,
that's really. I don't care if he shoots. That's like the biggest misnomer to all.
I
of
know
this
how you
thing.
feel.
It does not matter at all if he shoots. If they're playing a game with Kyrie Irving, let's just say dream scenario for the Nets. Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons is the Amari Stoudemire on offense with this team, but can also handle the ball. Pick and roll ball handler, pick and roll man. That offense is impossible to stop if Ben Simmons is willing to get fouled.
100%. But see, I think that's the big thing here, right? We can't just ignore that.
No.
If you were to just look at skill, right, and overall ability, you go, oh my God, Ben Simmons to the Nets with Kevin Durant and James Harden, unstoppable force. But then if you factor in what we've seen out of Ben Simmons, and just I'm not crazy to say that once you get to the postseason, he's an unknown quantity. Like, we don't know what to expect from Ben Simmons right now. So
we really don't. Does
he come in and start draining free throws? Maybe. Has he been working on them? I don't know. Seems like he's been playing a lot of PUBG or whatever it's. I mean, the guy. Everything I see is him just. And granted, look, the media sensationalizes all of this. I get that. Like, maybe he's practicing. He probably is. He's probably still in shape. But if he's shooting 40% from the charity stripe in a Game 6, and he's passing up easy shots and he's just taking up space, his defense is still valuable, but he's less valuable when you can't get any offensive production out of him. So that's the real X factor there. I think Harden's hamstring is totally fine. He was in shoot around the other day. Like, I just think hamstring is another way of saying he didn't want to play right now.
I mean, I think his hamstring is a real issue in that it's always a real issue for him. It's been a recurring injury. Do I think that it's a problem right now? No, I don't.
No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it's reoccurring. I'm not saying he can't suffer another injury, but I'm saying he's not going to walk in the Wells Fargo Center with a gimp tomorrow.
No, not at all. No, I think he's going to be conveniently ready to go whenever their next game is.
Crazy trade, though, man.
I don't like the Curry piece. That's the only piece I didn't get. We saw word, or we were getting word that Thibault was the holdup for that trade. I don't know if that means in place of Curry or they wanted Curry and Thibault. Because if that's the case, then I agree. Like, that's preposterous.
Yeah.
I don't like giving up Curry in this deal if I'm Philly, because he is the perfect guy to have as a weak side, like, shooter that you can't leave when James Harden and Joel Embiid run a pick and roll.
For sure. Yeah, dude, these comments are silly. BEI or whatever the hell is it. Simmons will play D and rebound. He doesn't need to shoot. LOL. Laffy knows the Sixers lost this trade. Yeah, just like he rebounded and played D against the Hawks, right? What are you talking about? They just fouled him. What are you talking about? That's absurd. Yes,
if he is willing to shoot free throws, then it doesn't matter if he can shoot.
Exactly. He doesn't need to shoot. No, he doesn't. But he needs to not pass up under the basket layups in game 7. He needs to shoot more than 40% from he needs to be better than Andre Drummond at free throw shooting. Okay. Yeah. He needs to actually, like you said, be willing to take free throw shots. Do you realize Doc Rivers took his franchise star #1 overall pick off the floor late in playoff games? Do you understand how much of an indictment that is upon how he was playing? This isn't up for debate.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a willingness issue, because even if it's bad, it's still him wanting to do it changes everything.
100% agree.
I assume we're going to know how this looks by May.
Yeah.
Late April, early May. Yeah. Like, the regular season is going to be whatever. It's not like they're going to do a hack of Ben Simmons on a late March game.
That's a good point. Yeah.
If we get to the playoffs and he gets the yips again and doesn't want to be involved, in a way, it's not all that bad because they're getting these 2 picks, but one's obviously down the line, the other one's this year's pick, which is sort of meaningless. But
let me be clear here. I really like this trade for the Nets, right?
Yeah.
But for anybody saying that, and this is true, James Harden has dealt with more injuries lately. Listen, he's been in the league since 2009. That's all true. But this is the thing. Like, you have to be objective about this. If you're not in that same breath saying Ben Simmons crumbled in the most important game of his life last year and throughout most of that series, and was actually a hindrance to the team late in games, and we don't know how he's going to look in Brooklyn. If you're not saying that in the same sentence as James Harden's getting up there and he has some injury history lately, then you're just being dishonest. Absolutely. That's all I'm saying.
For sure. Okay, so let's talk this through. Closing lineup for the Sixers. James Harden.
In the playoffs?
Yeah, James Harden, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid.
Matisse Thybulle and Maxey. Matisse Thybulle will be you can throw Matisse Thybulle. This is my opinion, Josh. I was going to ask you this as well. I wanted to know where you were at here. I think Thybulle can be he's not a good shooter, right? Despite Joel Embiid's incessant just start shooting. It's hilarious how he just trolls these guys on his own team. He's not a good shooter, but I want Matisse. If I have James Harden and Joel Embiid, two of the preeminent scorers in the league, if I have them out there, and Tobias Harris, who is never going to be a 2 on a championship team, but could be a 3, and we see Maxey get better, he can get to the rack now, his 3-point shooting has looked better. If you have those guys out there, give me Thybulle and you've said it before I even did, as an elite defender out there on the perimeter.
I think they're more likely to close with Danny Green.
I don't. Well, okay, what does Danny Green really give you that at this stage of his career that Matisse Thybulle doesn't? Corner threes?
The ability to shoot. The ability to shoot.
Corner threes. That's it. I mean, all the guy can hit is corner threes at this point.
That's
right?
It. Yeah.
Like, he's a 38% 3-point shooter. That's fine.
I mean, that's pretty good.
No. It's good, but I'm saying, but does it make up for everything else? And if he's getting up 3 shots a game with like a 6% usage rate, does it really matter?
No, probably not. I mean,
Well,
it's
who
not
would you
like
rather?
Matisse Thybulle's some usage monster though either.
No. I don't think so either. I just think he's a markedly better defender than Danny Green at this stage of their careers.
I agree, but I think the gap between Danny Green's fit offensively is bigger than the gap between Thibault and Danny Green defensively. And obviously, this is very matchup dependent. It depends who you're playing.
That is very true. Yeah.
Like if the Sixers are playing the Bucks, then I don't think it's Thibault because I think he's kind of useless in that spot. It's not like Thibault's guarding Giannis, and it doesn't really matter all that much if you're putting him on Middleton or Drew. Like someone else is okay in that spot. I think Danny Green fits more in that scenario.
Well, let me ask.
Whereas, like if it's the Nets, I think you got a better chance of trying to put him out there on Kyrie.
That's what I think. Okay, so and you have people in chat saying there's no way he'll be out there late in the playoffs. He's nowhere near the shooter Green is.
Hold on. Let me just stop you right here. Anything that comes out of Brandon Katz during this chat, you want to go ahead and stick like nails or something in your eyes so you never see it again.
This is why I love doing shows with you.
He's a true awful thing to read throughout this entire chat.
All right. Well, I have to.
Ooh, we got a trade coming in.
All right.
Torrey Craig
quick.
Craig to the Suns for Jalen Smith. It is not an interesting deal. We don't have to talk about it any longer.
Okay. Sorry. I should have let you just go there. So what I'm saying is if you have Harris and Embiid and Harden out there, right? And let's just say Maxey's out there as a closer. I personally don't see any way he isn't. I really don't. At this point right now, they were you realize they could have got this deal done days ago if they just agreed to trade Maxey with Simmons. Yeah, sure. But they won't give him up. It's hard for me to believe he's not a closer. If you have those guys on the floor, how many shots, and I understand sometimes it's just nice to have that guy, but how many shots are you getting from a Danny Green or a Matisse Thybulle late in the game? How many times do they touch the ball?
Well, I don't think it's really about that. It's about not being able to leave him.
Right. No, I got you. You can't just let him sit there without a defender. But I don't know. Are they really that scared of Danny Green? I guess we'll see. No. But yeah, I think you're right. It's matchup related for sure.
Yeah, I think it has to be. Because if they don't have a guy that naturally you want as a ball hawk, then it's just not as important. I think the spacing becomes a little bit more interesting on the offensive side.
So what's the Nets starting lineup in your opinion when everyone's healthy? Simmons at the 5.
If they play anybody bigger than Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant while they're out there, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So to me, it's Simmons, Durant, Kyrie, as long as it's a road game. I mean, if Joe Harris could play, unquestionably Joe Harris. It doesn't seem like he's going to be able to be back. So Patty Mills, Kyrie Irving, Durant, Simmons, and whoever the hell else you want to put in there. Bruce Brown, DeAndre Bembry. It's a random name for that 5th spot.
The absence of Joe Harris is huge.
I mean, it basically,
especially
for this team now.
That's what I mean.
Simmons instead of Harden.
That's what I mean.
Like it's a problem.
If you got rid of Harden and you're like, yeah, well, we still got Joe Harris, who can spot up and knock down, 5 threes in a game if you need him to. His absence is huge when he's replaced by Bruce Brown or DeAndre Bembry. I mean,
over the past 4 years, ignoring this year because he only played 400 minutes, 47, 43, 47, 42. Those are the 3-point percentages.
Now that's a good 3-point. That's a guy.
He's one of the 5 best shooters in basketball.
But got Seth Curry.
Yeah.
So
imagine having Joe Harris and Seth Curry on opposite sides of the floor while you're running your Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant actions.
Well, this is why this lineup works, especially if you had Harris, right? The reason it works, the reason Embiid and Simmons didn't work is because Embiid is lethal in the post. Ben Simmons is effectively useless if he's not getting to the basket. And that's that's just factual, right?
Yeah.
So how many times would you see this offense look completely stagnant in the half court? They can't move Ben Simmons is just kind of there waiting around. And if he gets the ball, they sag off of him. They make it so they don't worry if he shoots. And even when he had 10 feet, he wouldn't take his shot. Now you don't have to worry about that with Ben Simmons because you can plant him at the 5, surround him with shooters, and you become a really good team. That's why I'm saying the fit for Ben Simmons for this team right now is very good for the Brooklyn Nets. Really, really good. But is Ben Simmons going to be a head case again? And that's a question that's yet to be answered. And like you said, we need to know in the playoffs.
Yeah, nothing matters when they're playing the Orlando Magic on a Tuesday. You know, you can do whatever do whatever you want.
Marcos, Simmons at the 5 is like the most.
People need to remember that this dude's 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he's like legit 6'11". It makes more sense than you could ever imagine. If Embiid wasn't in Philly, Simmons would have played They don't need Simmons to bring the ball up the court. You have Kyrie Irving. Like
he's built like Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I'm not pissed off, Billy. I'm just saying it's a silly state. I don't get mad about this stuff. I've told you a million times. I love dissension in chat. Makes me happy. But I'm not going to whisper it to you.
This is. I'm pulling up Ben Simmons player profiles from B-Ball Index. Looks like somebody already beat me to Derek White, so I'm going to skip going to tab 2. Somebody's on Grant Williams here. I don't want to take this from anybody. No, there's no way that anybody's looking at Alec Burks right now. Let's look at Ben Simmons for last year and see what his main strengths and weaknesses were. Because it feels, it's been a hot minute since we've seen him on the floor and the things that he can do,
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, so how excited are you to see Harden playing with Embiid?
I'm super excited. Wouldn't you be excited about that? I mean, that's fun to finally pair Embiid with an elite player. I said to a buddy who just hit me up when I was walking the dog, I was like, even if this experiment fails, kind of had to do it. And, you have to take your shots when you have Embiid who has a lengthy injury history. Those big men don't last forever at an elite level. I know that's cliche, but it's true. It's cliche for a reason because it's true. So especially the way he plays, dude, that guy's taking like 5 concussion like falls every single game.
It's brutal, it's scary to watch.
So you got to get it while it's there. And I'm really excited. It's going to be, what's going to be fun about it, Josh, is I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm curious.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to look, I assume it looks great out of the gate. And the first bit of adversity will be a very, very interesting day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I don't know. I don't know. I think it'll be all right.
Dude, having Simmons out there with all of this spacing. So for last season, this is all from, again, B-Ball Index. They put grades on all sorts of stats. So his getting to the rim rating for last year, which was basically his ability to get to the rim unassisted, A- for the league. His finishing at the rim rating, A-. His overall finishing talent, A-. He is elite at getting to the rim and scoring or dishing out of that. He's one of the best playmakers in basketball. I don't think that I have to really add anything here. Here's a very interesting piece that I think this is why people don't realize that he can actually be a center. He got an A- grade, 86th percentile in total post frequency. So anytime he's getting touches as a post play or a putback of anything like that, he gets assists out of the post. He draws fouls out of the post. This dude is a center. He can just handle the ball. Correct. We don't think it's weird when Nikola Jokic does all of these point guard like things. We need to not think that it's weird that he does it either.
100% agree. Did you see that too? Shot quality at the rim, D-.
Yeah.
I will say though, in the playoffs, Ben Simmons had a much more difficult time getting to the rim.
Oh, for sure.
Much more difficult time. It won't matter as much in Brooklyn though. And that's,
I mean, if the Brooklyn Nets are putting out the lineups we're talking about, he's not going to have all that much trouble getting to the rim.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not going to make a big difference.
No.
He's a perfect 5 for this team.
Yeah.
You can imagine the first game where is he going to defend Embiid in the post? I mean, that's going to be crazy, dude. Could you miss that game? Who would not want to watch?
Oh, God.
Who else are they going to put on Embiid in the post?
I mean, they can't put Drummond out there. Embiid will put him wherever he wants. Yeah. It's not Nick Claxton.
It's Simmons.
It probably is. Yeah, it should be.
That's what makes this matchup interesting, because Simmons is a great defender. Do you think? And you're not going to be able to double Embiid as much. You saw the Suns, right? Because Embiid still dropped 34 on them the other day, and the Sixers still lost. The Suns just started bringing help to Embiid every time he touched the ball in the second half. Go ahead.
We forgot about Aldridge in this equation, I guess. Not that he's going to be like guarding Joel Embiid. He's not that guy, but it's just another big whose name I totally forgot in this scenario.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, if you want to bring two to Joel, and then you still have Harden, what time? When's the deadline? Is it 3:00 or 4:00?
3:00. We got 51 minutes to go.
I'm curious if the Sixers make one more move to land a 3-point shooter, or they just trust like George Niang, who's not that bad. I think he's like a 40% 3-point shooter.
I'll be honest with you. I legitimately don't know off the top of my head. That's just one of those dudes that don't exist for me. He's shooting 40% from 3, 42% last year, 40% the year before that.
He's a decent.
I just don't know. I don't know how many. I don't know what the attempt rate is there. Let me see what his per 36 is. Per 36, okay. So per 36, he's taken 9 3 years ago, 9 2 years ago, 7.5 this year. That's actual volume if he's out there. So, and
it's not just forget about per 36 for a second, because it's not like he's playing 5 minutes a game.
But I wanted to make sure that I couldn't just look at his game rates. I want to know if he's actually a volume shooter if he were playing. That is a rate of an actual guy that gets up shots.
Right. He's attempting 5 threes per game this season. So
he's been playing a lot more as of late.
I think they can start running Niang for like a solid 25, 26 minutes a game in the regular season too, because you're not going to be worried about Matisse Thybulle being out there as much defensively. So I think Niang's a good enough 40% 3-point shooter is not bad if you just want someone on the wing, right?
No, not at all.
So,
all right. So for Philly, what contracts do they still have here? So there's not really a mechanism for them to get, like, Eric Gordon makes $18 million. I don't think Philly can get that done without it being Danny Green and then something else. And I don't think that's what they're looking to do. Like, you could do Danny Green and Korkmaz. I don't know if they have the asset to get Eric Gordon, which I think would be interesting. I'm really curious.
Gordon's interesting.
Well, I think he would fit this team like a glove here. He's got the experience. He's a shooter. I just don't know if they can make that money work.
Is there anyone else?
I'm trying to think about it right now.
Joel Embiid tweeted 32 minutes ago. 63,000 retweets.
What did he tweet?
Jordan should be putting that up on the screen if he didn't already.
I desperately want to know what he's tweeting.
He didn't. It's just a picture.
Oh, okay. Is he like waving goodbye or something? 1,100 people, by the way, 420 likes. We should have no problem getting to 500.
No, not at all. Solid ratio, though.
Somebody, yeah, absolutely. Somebody mentioned it earlier. I don't remember who it was, but this is another one where it might have to happen as a buyout, but I feel like Gary Harris would be really interesting there. He's sort of refound his offensive form, gets you another defender out there, sort of like a poor man's version of Danny Green at this point.
Yeah, by the way, totally forgot that you were producing this show on your own.
Oh yeah, you can do all the same things I can do right now.
Yeah. Harris was the guy that I heard talked about a lot. I would have no problem with that, honestly. He's a fine player. He's a fine player. I mean,
but he makes $20 million right now.
Yeah, not good.
They can't do a salary match in any way for that. He would have to get bought out from Orlando, and I think he would have some suitors, but clearly Philly would be near the front of the line for it.
I think George Niang is the guy, honestly. Just I'm not saying he's a stud, obviously. What I'm saying is
I think you need a guard. I think you need a guard to try to at least slot in mildly to that Curry spot. I don't think you want it to be Furkan Korkmaz. Put it that way.
You're probably right. I mean, Niang's 6'7". He's not huge, right? He could play the 3. You can Harden and Maxey at the 1 and the 2.
And then it's Harris and Niang. I mean, that team's going to get beat up defensively.
Yeah, that's ugly. Well, I was more so talking about not as a closing lineup, but just
right.
As a closing lineup, no way. But again, maybe they will get somebody. Maybe they got like 45 minutes.
Yeah. I think they're going to just have to be it's going to have to be like Gary Harris on the buyout market. I don't think they could get in I don't think there's anything like Buddy Hield's just too expensive, too much money going out for him to go in that direction. There's nobody from Washington that really stands out to me that I could think of.
Shake Milton's shooting miserably as well for the games that he's played.
Yeah, and he's been out too, so even that's not going to help him out. It's not like you're getting anybody from Atlanta or Boston. Nope. I mean, Eric Gordon would be the dream scenario. I don't know how you do it, especially with having to give up 2 firsts in this deal. That's why I think the price was a little steep. If you could have been able to save that pick or save like one of those 2 things, I mean, it appears that they couldn't, but
yeah,
being able to pry Eric Gordon out of Houston would be a dream. I don't know if it's I don't know how they'd make the money work.
And they don't have the firsts, where if you're Houston and you're rebuilding, you're definitely looking for first, because the Sixers aren't really in a position right now to start giving away more actual bodies.
No, and they don't have a bad contract. That's the problem. There's nobody out there other than Danny Green that makes anything of value. Everybody else is, making $2 million a year right now. I mean, I don't know what Thibel's value is out there, but I'd be willing to include him for something better.
I feel like at this point, Matisse Thybulle, they really didn't want to get rid of Thybulle and Maxey. It's just the way it was. So maybe they just believe in them more than others do, and they don't believe in. It's not even not believing in Seth Curry. It's just they wanted the Nets need. Do you think with Joe Harris, right? He's not down for the whole year, but he could be, right?
He might have to go back under the knife, and if he does, I think he's going to be cooked. Somebody in chat, I said this one earlier, but Slightly Lawn said Luke Kennard would be perfect.
Think that's insane.
Now he's got a long deal. He goes out a couple more years, gets up to like 15 and 23, 24. That would be one, but it probably has to be Danny Green going out.
Wait, doesn't Kennard have an awful contract? Didn't they wildly overpay him?
They gave him like 4 for 48.
Okay.
It's not all that crazy.
No, he's a good.
I mean, it's like you don't want to give that out, but
Kennard's interesting.
Because that you could do for basically Danny Green and somebody random.
Right.
I just don't know what picks you would have to attach to something like that. You might not have to do any, depending on what you think. If you just want to get off, if the Clippers the Clippers have like a truly staggering tax payment coming up this season. They are wildly over the tax. They're 53.5 million over the cap. That's the third biggest number behind Golden State and Brooklyn. They have if I can find the tweet from Bobby Marks, let me see if I can find it. I think they're paying out like $100 million in tax. They might be willing to just get off of that and then buy out Danny Green.
And the crazy thing too is you're not even getting Kawhi this year. He's not even going to play.
Are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
The Clippers have. So Boston was a $2 million. They were $2 million over the tax. I believe that. So this is the amount of money that the team owes over the tax, along with the penalties for being over the tax. The Clippers are at $112 million in luxury tax payments. That's how much they owe. That's how far over they are.
What's the next closest team?
So it's Golden State is at 170. The Clippers are at 112. Brooklyn's at 110. That's obviously going to change with this deal, but it's still,
Oh, so Golden State's at 170.
Yeah. And then Milwaukee and the Lakers are both in the 40s. Utah was 17 million over, but I think they might have basically cured that with the Ingles deal. Philly was 7.5 million over the tax with the penalty. They're probably staying over now. And if they are, it means you might as well just take it all on.
Just curious,
there are going to be some massive luxury tax payments going out this year.
Just curious, do we know where a team like the Rockets or the Pistons are in terms of salary?
Pistons,
or is it only the teams that were over? Oh no, you got it up.
Yeah. Pistons are over, and they're going to have 25 million in cap next year.
How are they over?
I'll pull it up for you.
I mean, I guess it's unimportant, but I'm just like, how?
Most teams are. So, you got like Kelly Olynyk and shit on the team making 10 million or whatever it is.
Oh, that's amazing.
They got 20 million on Jerami Grant right now, 12 on Kelly Olynyk. They just took on Bagley for 11. They just got a lot of guys making like 4 or 5.
I don't really follow this cap stuff like you do, so it's interesting when you bring it up.
So we're talking about two different things here. The Pistons are over the salary cap, but not into the luxury tax. And that's an important distinction.
So the luxury tax is, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, the Pistons aren't paying into the luxury tax, but they are an over the cap team currently.
Dude.
Yeah, they also have stretched money of 29 million for Blake Griffin. Appreciate Jordan Burkhardt putting this out. 29 million to Blake Griffin this season. That comes off the books. $1 million to Zaire Smith. DeAndre Jordan's on the books for $7.5 million for the next 2 years. Dedmon is on their books for 4 more years. Corey Joseph, that can't be right. Corey Joseph can't have a dead money hit on the Pistons. He's still on the fucking Pistons. That can't be possible.
Starting.
And Servetus is still on there. So they have a lot of money on their books for players that aren't even on their roster.
That's not good. I mean, do you remember the Mozgov and the Luol Deng contracts?
Deng is still getting $5 million from the Lakers this season.
It's crazy. Mozgov got an insane contract too. The summer of 16, man, everybody made bank. Amazing. Anyway, I got to go. I got some work to do, but this is fun, man. Thanks for bringing me on. I
appreciate you popping in. I mean, we had to get your thoughts on a James Harden, Ben Simmons deal, man.
Damn right, man.
We still have a lot left on the table, man. Jerami Grant, we have no idea what's going to go on there. Eric Gordon, we have no idea what's going to go on there.
It's not over.
It's not, man. We got a lot left.
You can still get some action. 40 minutes to go for sure. I mean,
you would think it's been pretty tame.
What's that?
It's been pretty tame outside of the Harden stuff. I think we got most of it earlier in the week,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's what I said to I think it was I forget who I was. Oh, to Adam yesterday during the deeper dive. I think it sucks that I basically said Josh needs to get this Harden trade because that was a big one, right? If you didn't get this Harden trade, it would be, it would be quiet.
I'm sitting here doing not a lot right now.
Right. But you had McCollum, and you could have like recapped that, but we've already done that. I know you probably done it on the strategy show. McCollum, Tyrese Halliburton, Sabonis, some really big trades over the last couple of days that, I mean, when you're doing a show like this, all you want is for them to break during the show. And then you got the biggest one of the season and there's nothing that's going to top that. So it's pretty cool.
I'll tell you what, it would be really exciting if there was something that topped it. Montrezl Harrell to the Hornets. There it is. And you said there was not going to be nothing bigger than Harden-Simmons. Montrezl Harrell to the Hornets.
I don't think anything could top it, right? Like, there's no way, right? There's nothing left that could possibly top it based on what teams are competing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think Dame's going anywhere. Beal's probably not that guy any longer.
But there's still a lot of relevant stuff that could happen, and that's what matters.
It would have to be something wild like Jaylen Brown to the Grizzlies.
You think something like that could happen?
I mean, it's been like bandied about that, like that would be the kind of move they would do for extra picks from the Grizzlies, Desmond Bane, other young pieces since the Grizzlies try to consolidate. Not that, like, let's be clear here. I think this is like a less than 1% conversation, but like that's the type of thing where we'd be like, oh, holy shit.
Right. Do you think if Dame was healthy right now, they would trade him?
No, I think it's the exact opposite. They're rebuilding around Dame.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they were rebuilding around him or if they're just flat out rebuilding and stockpiling everything in order to build a team. But
I think they are like Dame's not going anywhere now to me.
No, now that McCollum's gone, yeah.
No, I mean now it's Dame. Bledsoe comes off the books. He's got 19 million non-guaranteed next year. Ingles comes off the books. They're going to lock in that Josh. I would imagine they're going to lock in the Josh Hart deal for 2 more years at 13. Nurkic is a free agent. Well, yeah, technically he ended up there, but he's an expiring contract.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot the whole. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so they're looking at 20 plus million in space heading into the offseason with the ability to potentially free up. If you wanted to get off Hart, I guess you could. If you want to renounce Yusuf Nurkic, you could have a max cap slot.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is there's not a real free agent class out here. If the best thing that you could hope for is that Bradley Beal opts out of his player option and goes signs a max deal with Portland, you just recreate the Dame's CJ dynamic with Beal. That's really the only thing that's out there for them. So I don't know what the hell they're planning to do with cap space.
What do you think would have happened with Beal if he wasn't injured and done for the year?
I kind of talked about that with Adam actually this morning, where it's got to be tricky for Washington because I think they should have traded him back when Drew Holiday was getting traded and you were getting you get 3 firsts and 3 swaps and a young player and whatever. Yeah. You cash in because I never saw Beal being that kind of guy. And you just should take that value. But if you've got a guy that wants to be there, that's a very clear, fringe all NBA guy, does make an all NBA team. And all he says over and over and over again is, I want to be here, whether that's in backroom conversations or to the public.
Go out and get somebody.
It's hard to trade him without looking like why would anybody ever want to come to Washington again if you had a guy that was really good and loyal and you still axed him?
And he said,
do I think they made a mistake by not trading him? Yes. But at the same time, I don't know that I could have done anything different with him the same way they did.
I think you're right. And he's had every opportunity to say, get me out of here. And every right to say that too. Every justifiable reason to say that he has.
Yeah. I don't. The Wizards are trading Aaron Holiday to Phoenix. By the way, the Montrezl Harrell deal is for Vernon Carey and Ish Smith. So for nothing. I
love how Ish Smith is still playing.
I know why I like Montrezl Harrell. I don't know what the point of him is in Charlotte unless you're getting rid of one of Plumlee or PJ Washington. And I assume the answer would be Plumlee there. I don't know why you want Harrell, but it's not like Vernon Carey and Ish Smith matter. So
hold on a second.
What's up?
How many teams do you think Ish Smith has played for? Where did he just get moved to?
He's now on his way back to Washington for what I believe is the 3rd or 4th time.
All right. So guess how many teams he's played for?
It's 12 now or something, isn't it?
Nailed it. Yeah. 12 teams this guy's played for since 2010. I mean,
yeah.
And the guy, he's seen the world. He's seen the whole country, this guy, without having to do a damn thing. Dude, do you think he just rents? He must just rent, right? There's no purpose of having permanent residence anywhere if you're Ish Smith until you retire.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Maybe he's like a real estate mogul and he's got a house in all of these places now.
Yeah, he's just buying houses in places he hasn't played in yet because he knows it's coming. But
just get an inevitable house in there.
and it's the worst part for him, he's never ended up. I guess he was in Orlando, but he never ended up in a Miami or an LA or something like that where players want to be at. Never ended up with the Knicks or anything. I'm not saying you should want to live in all those places, but people do. He ends up in, Milwaukee and Philly and Detroit.
Oh, Ish Smith.
I'm just kidding.
Is that going to be the most interesting? Are we done for the next 33 minutes?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, the Jerami Grant deal is just hanging out there. I don't know if you're the Detroit Pistons and you finish this day with Jerami Grant, what are you doing?
Who does he help the most? It's got to be teams that already have two legitimately good players and are looking for a 3, because he's not a 2 on any championship winning team. And if he is, there's just no other team out there that is positioned right now to add him and think they can compete for a championship as their number 2. There's no way.
Well, I mean, I think what we really do need to do is think of him as a 3, not like in a positional sense, like in a priority sense.
No, that's what I said. You already have to have 2 established stars or very good players to bring him on as a 3. What I was saying is that's the only way it makes sense to grab Jerami Grant at this point. I
mean, he's obviously a fantastic fit in Dallas. I don't see it. I'd love to see him go back to
Brandon
Denver.
Katz agrees with you.
I'd love to see him in Denver. I think he would work in Memphis, but I don't think that's the deal Memphis should make. I don't think that puts them over the edge, but he would clearly fit a fantastic role there if you put him in at the 4 alongside Jaren at the 5.
Right. Does he put any team over the top? Is there any team that could use a Jerami Grant that it puts him over the top?
I mean,
Dallas becomes a lot better, but they're not. And Grant has played the 3 or the 4, the 3. You can play kind of wherever you need him, but I don't. Yeah,
there's not really there's no way to make it happen for Philly. There's no way to make it happen for Brooklyn. There's no way to make it happen for Milwaukee. I mean, Phoenix. Yeah, it would be like an embarrassment of riches, but I don't really see what they would do to make that happen. Toronto doesn't need him.
What about Utah?
They don't have I don't think they have it now. And since they've already offloaded Ingles, they already got rid of a lot of salary ballast.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure they could still pull that off. I mean, Atlanta could be interesting, but that feels like the type of move where you would have wanted to keep Cam Reddish earlier. But if you get the first from the Knicks, I guess you.
Yeah, but Atlanta's one of those teams again where it's like, okay, cool. John Collins, nice player. Clint Capella, good player. Bogdanovich, nice player. All of these guys are nice players to have, and obviously you have Trae Young. Jerami Grant's not moving that needle enough to put them over the top.
Tomas says Bulls is the correct answer. I don't know what you guys are babbling about for so long. Yeah, I just don't think that if I'm the Bulls, I want to give up Patrick Williams and a pick to get Jerami Grant and still not be one of the 4 best teams in the East.
Yeah, sorry for babbling, pal. Again, yeah, exactly right.
Brandon Katz, cap space doesn't matter. Why are you so wrong over and over and over again, man? Cap space is irrelevant in these discussions. They're not trying to sign him outright. It's just a balanced trade.
Well,
cap space matters in the offseason.
This has been fun, man. You still got over 1,100 people watching. Just crossed 500 likes. Doing big things on today's show.
I love it, man. I live for this. This is my favorite thing to do of the entire year.
Couldn't have asked for
more.
Although
getting drunk for finals streams was pretty fun with you.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sad you're not going to be with us on the Super Bowl ranking show today because I'm getting tuned up.
I can already feel my voice going after process show, contenders videos, strategy show, and this. Like, I'm running low. And I didn't exactly treat my body right yesterday either.
I just want to get Ben drunk so bad.
Yeah.
I've hung out with him multiple times. Man is very, very straight and narrow.
Yeah. The fun thing about Ben, though, is you don't have to get him drunk for ridiculous things to come out of his mouth.
For sure. For sure. But you can't tell me you're not curious.
Oh, very curious.
I've seen Linkwit drunk. He was ripping shots with us the one night on a show. You and I, what show was that with the Henny and the...
It was like game 4, game 5 of the finals or something, I think.
Wait, that was NBA. That was all the way back in NBA season?
Yeah, it was in like June. Or really? Did they have a late finals this year?
No, it was like August, I think.
When was the NBA finals?
I think it went through August. Maybe not.
I mean, We were pretty drunk, so I forget. All right, Bucks Phoenix game 6 was on July the 20th. So it was July.
July then, right? Okay, it went through late July. That's right. So, dude, it feels like it was yesterday. That's crazy.
It's going to be a couple more months, and we're going to do it again.
Yeah, we are.
For fingers crossed, there's no baseball.
We'll go. We'll do live before locks. Remember, we had that. Those were fun live before locks, and then we'll head straight over, and we'll make it happen.
Yep.
And chat can come join us.
Yeah.
Do whatever you like.
Instead of drinking, we'll do heroin. I think that'll be fine, right?
Yeah, a little fentanyl.
Yeah. Just a tiny bit.
Yeah. Some.
I don't go too crazy.
Pressed Percocets. I asked before I go. I asked Matt Savoca. Okay, so you used to go to Philly for concerts and stuff, right? Because you're from PA.
Dashboard Confessional, baby, at the Electric Factory.
Dashboard Confessional. Your hair is everywhere. Wasn't that them? Right? Your hair is everywhere. Yeah,
you are correct. You are correct.
So I asked him and Jordan on the matchup show today. Say, you guys remember? You hear the clank clank of the nitrous tanks coming out from under like the Civic hatchback in the parking lots, 5 for $25, and they got the nitrous tanks that they stole from somewhere. They had no idea what I was talking about. You have to know what I'm talking about.
Loved a nitrous back.
Okay. I remember a cop would roll through and you'd hear clank, clank back under the car.
So I would just, in my experiences, I just always ended up with like a bunch of balloons like into my fingers, and I'm just walking around
right.
like balloon hands. Just
right. But you knew where it was because you'd hear the.
Yeah. If you had the canisters, yeah.
Yeah. No. I was just making the sound. I'm talking about him blowing it up with the tank, and you could hear it, and you'd be like, that way.
Yep. Oh yeah, you would hear it. You would hear it.
But that was
because they would be everywhere.
I thought they did them. I thought that was like a around the country thing, and these guys had no idea what I was talking about.
I could have sworn it was, but
apparently not.
Yeah, I guess not.
And Steven, I do have work to do, but I'm having fun. So yeah.
Well, it's this work, I'm assuming, right? Like you're just prepping for some other Awesemo work, or do you have
for
like
basketball
homework
tonight and for the football stream, which is going to be fun, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So
I wish I could have been there. I really do. It would have just been too long of a day.
Listen, we'll make sure to get it to work some other time. But
I'm not the guy that should be talking about Super Bowl shit anyway. So
well, I mean, we're just getting stupid. Like it's not even. It's going to be just a lot of fun stuff. We drafted and have the and then have chat. We're gonna poll them who has the best team at the end of it. Drafting crazy stuff like food, Super Bowl halftime performances. Best MVPs, best worst games. Gonna have some fun with it, and then get some feedback from chat as well.
What's the primary Super Bowl food for you? Give me the spoiler before the show.
Well, okay. First off, I just if I don't have pizza's the greatest food on earth. Like, gotta have a good pizza. I got a go-to place around here. Gotta do pizza.
Is it the place that also sells cappuccinos or lattes? Or...
No, but I should. The cappuccino. You were right.
Okay.
With big wood in the foam.
Yeah. The Mavericks are trading Kristaps Porzingis to the Washington Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie. Let's fucking do it, baby.
Big one.
Boom.
We got it. Glad I stayed on. Get out of here.
Whoo. Didn't see that one coming. Did not see that one coming.
Damn.
I'm going to pop that up on the screen for everybody so they can see it and know that it's real. Boop. There it is. Washington Wizards are trading Spencer Dinwiddie to the Dallas Mavericks.
Are they also going to get Jerami Grant? Can they do that? Can they make? I mean, they should be able to, right? No.
I mean, you'd have to do. I don't know where they stand from a picks perspective. I know they're out a couple in the future, but they would need. It would need to be like. I mean, they could do Tim. Because they're re-upping Hardaway. That's such a bitch of a contract. You'd have to send Dwight Powell out with some other stuff. I doubt it.
Is this just a 1-for-1 trade?
No news yet. It just is. The only thing we've seen are just the deal. So, well, let's think through it here. Porzingis makes $31 million. No, I mean something else has to be involved in this because Porzingis makes $31 million. He's got a 5% trade kicker, and then for Washington, Dinwiddie makes 17. So Let's pull up the trade machine. I get this screen share back up again. So we'll get Dallas in for Dinwiddie and Bertans. Laffy, you're on your way out, man. Dave Loughran has been traded to the Dallas Mavericks along with Spencer Dinwiddie for Kristaps Porzingis.
Davis Bertans is on a fat contract too.
All right, you get the hell out of here. I got to get Adam in here for this now. I'm just tagging you out, going to Wizards coverage now.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. Can't wait for his enthusiasm. I'll see you.
I mean, for the record, I think Davis Bertans is an incredible reclamation project.
Yeah, sure.
That's if you're going to have him out there, letting Luka create with Davis Bertans in the corner is real.
Yeah, Sixers got Harden. What do I care about that? No, I hear you. You're not wrong. Unless it's the Davis Bertans that just forgot how to shoot threes. But I don't think it will be. Anyway, this is fun, man. See if Adam there's like a 0% chance he's jumping on for this.
I assume that's the case, but you never know.
See if he will. Because maybe
I sent him the message. Detroit Tigers. Here's an interesting question for you. He said, why on earth get Dinwiddie when they have Luka and Brunson? Because they are not planning on having Jalen Brunson is the answer. Jalen Brunson's going to be either traded in the next 21 minutes or traded in the offseason when he's a restricted free agent.
You want to talk about a dude that's come up this year. Jalen Brunson's made a bit of a name for himself, Josh. He's good, dude. He's legitimately good.
But
I mean, this is the first season where you look at Jalen Brunson and go, hey, this guy can play and he really helps a basketball team.
I mean, Jalen Brunson shot 41% from three last year on neutral usage and 62% true shooting. I mean, it's kind of both years.
But he wasn't getting the minutes. I mean, he's a real player now in the sense that he's a real legitimate 30+ minute per game type of guy and can be.
And took a usage or assist rate jump from 22% to 28%. I mean, that's a big time change there. He's not shooting as well, but obviously a little bit of a usage bump up. He's looked good. He's looked really good, but I assume this is the end of Jalen Brunson in Dallas at the very least long term. I think that you can pretty easily, I don't want to say easily play Brunson and Dinwiddie alongside each other because I think that brings up some defensive shortcomings, but this is another situation where we have to remember the size of these guys. Luka Doncic isn't a 1 or a 2. Okay? Like his size, just because he dribbles and passes doesn't make him a point guard. He's a 6'6" dude. Like
he's a big fella.
Yeah, he can guard threes.
Right. It doesn't matter really where you put Luka at this point. So.
No.
I don't know.
I don't think they're going to be running a Dinwiddie, Brunson, Luka lineup all that frequently.
I was going to say, I don't love that.
No, neither do I.
All right, man. Good stuff. All you guys in chat, everybody watching, fun hanging out with you guys.
Guys, hit that like button for Laffy being here. That was a little fun detour for, I don't know how long were you here?
Long enough, man.
An hour?
I think so, yeah.
It's great to have you, man.
Now. I jumped in, about an hour ago. Well
good
worth
to have you.
Well worth
good to have you.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Great show. I'm glad you did this.
You and me both.
All right, guys. Fellas,
go Nets.
Talk to you. Peace.
Go Nets.
Fuck you.
There it is. All right, people. That is Dave Loughran joining us. No response whatsoever from Ship My Money. So let's talk this through. Let's take a look at the Dallas books for right now. So we've got Porzingis coming off the books at this 31.6. Man, oh man, does that Tim Hardaway Jr. injury and contract just look so much worse? At least it's descending. I like the Bertans fit. I mean, I like the idea. I don't know if Maxi's totally cooked, but Bertans Maxi is like an interesting 4-5 combination. I just don't know if Bertans is worth a shit any longer. This is so they finally break up the Porzingis deal. Oh, there's the response from Adam. Adam said no. He wants no part of talking to you guys. So blame him. This is wild. I think the thing that we need to pay closest attention to now is whether or not they are actually trying to trade Jalen Brunson right now before the deadline hits. I don't really see what this does for Washington. They already have 27 centers. So, all right, let's get another poll going here. Since we had one earlier, let's do another one. Who won the trade? Who won the Dinwiddie Porzingis trade? Mavs, Wiz, neither, or both. You guys know the drill. Give me your answers here. Who won this deal between the Dallas Mavericks and the Washington Wizards? Look, maybe they're going to try to play all these guys together, but it feels like a bit of overkill. But let's not forget. Let's not forget here. Dinwiddie can get by in like the low 20s usage, 23, 24. Jalen Brunson is getting by like that. He's a good shooter. I think the shooting of Dinwiddie is a bit problematic. I'm nervous to see what Dallas is doing here. I like the idea of getting off of Porzingis. I think we can all agree that wasn't working any longer. However, I'm not sure this is the fix. I'm not sure it's the fix. So far through the first 170 votes, the Wizards are out in front with neither team getting second in the votes. That, I think, is an indictment to what this deal really is. Yeah, Bobby Marks just tweeted it, and I think it's true. Dinwiddie is the Jalen Brunson insurance policy. Wait, is there a pick in the deal too? Mavs get a what? Okay, so I really don't like this deal for Dallas. They're taking on all of that Bertans money. Now that I'm thinking about this, Bertans is getting 16 million, 16 million, 17 million, and a $5 million guarantee for the next 3 years. Dinwiddie's getting 17, 18, and a $10 million guarantee. So they've got 2.5 years left. The Porzingis deal, he's got 31 million for the rest of this year, 34 next year. He's got an ETO for 2023 for 36 million. I don't like this deal for Dallas. I really don't. I really, really don't. I don't know why they're giving up a pick in this case. They're taking back a lot of bad money, including Bertans, all the way out to 2024. I just feel like there's got to be a better way to offload Kristaps Porzingis, but maybe that's not true. I don't love it, though. I don't love it. All right, per Tim McMahon, the Mavs are still expecting to re-sign Jalen Brunson. So we're talking about a team that's going to be Brunson, Dinwiddie, Luka, Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber, Dorian Finney. I don't know. I don't know what this is. I'm not seeing the win here for Dallas. So right now we're going to close this trade, or we're going to close the poll out. Dinwiddie Mavs 22%, Wizards 40%, neither 35%. Not a lot of people saying both. I'm going to get these AirPods out of my ears too. Yeah, game on, let's go. I don't know if that one's going to work. Uh-oh, I just yanked my camera with my feet. Let's fix that a little bit. There we go. Let's get my feet away too. Well, the countdown is on, everybody. We got 13 minutes left until the deadline. I mean, the Pistons are looking at So, Gabriel, I don't know if you're the first person to say it, but it is prompting me here. Let me go yell at my dog quickly. So the Pistons are interested in Jalen Brunson. Could this be a spot where they're looking to offload Jalen Brunson now for Jerami Grant? That makes it a little bit more plausible. Makes it a little bit more plausible. Let's put the music back on in the background too. And give me 2 seconds. I need some additional water. I've been talking for way too long. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's get back to the comments. So we're checking this out right now, and I feel like there's gonna have to be something else coming out here. I'm not sure I understand the fit of this Dallas team right now after this deal. I'm really not. I think we're gonna see something crazy pop up in the next 11 minutes. I don't really know what the gap in value is between Jerami Grant right now and Jalen Brunson. That's what's really interesting here. Does Detroit just want to get out in front of it right now on a restricted free agent? Because Grant's got, I believe, just next year left at 21. Yeah, and this is going to take, there's going to have to be salary ballast in here. So, I mean, if we're talking about this season, Jalen Brunson has been unequivocally better than Jerami Grant. I think that he could handle that usage at a more efficient rate. He has been a better three-point shooter, obviously a better facilitator. Now, Jerami Grant going to provide a lot more defensive skill. But in terms, Jalen Brunson probably going to be properly paid when all is said and done. You can make a case that Jerami Grant is a little underpaid right now. It would not surprise me if this was the baseline of a deal here, where you do something along the line. Let's pull it up here in the trade machine. Tried to do that before, and all of a sudden everything just went away. So if we look at Detroit and Dallas, Jerami Grant for Dwight Powell, and let's just see if they like Josh Green. Does that work? All right, so we need another $1 million somewhere else. So it either needs to be you can get by with like probably Boban instead. Boban make it work? Nope, still 420,000. So it would have to be Dorian Finney-Smith, which you're not going to do. So you could probably offload somebody in a different direction. Mavs have a $10 million trade exception. That doesn't really matter in this case. Man, there's something there. Shlomo, the Knicks can't go after Jerami Grant. There's no fit there. There's no fit there. So the Mavs have... What's the Mavs' current status in draft picks? All right. Dallas has... So Dallas has their own first this year. Would a Dallas first get it? I'm gonna be surprised if Dallas keeps that pick because it's the only they're out their pick next year. Okay, so actually, Dallas wouldn't be able to trade their first this year because you can't. Stepien rule says you can't be out a pick 2 consecutive years. So there would have to be something else going on. Dallas cannot trade their first in 2022. They would have to trade 2024's first. So I don't know. That's a hell of a quote from Bobby Marks. Would Turner look good on the Nets? Yeah, Turner looks good everywhere. Brandon, please stop saying cap space. That is not a real word in this discussion. I don't know why you keep doing it. It's incredibly frustrating. Maybe Brunson's not going anywhere. I don't see a natural trade here. He just doesn't make enough, and the salary becomes a real big issue. Gabriel, sorry, I have no idea what's going on for DFS tonight. Detroit Tigers. Dallas. It's not that Dallas is signing Dragic. They're the front runners to sign him when he is bought out. Which again, that's another piece that makes it seem like Brunson needs to be on his way out. Yeah, Shlomo, I'm with you. It makes more sense that this ends up being an off-season deal. Guy will gamble. It's not that they could reroute Bertans. It would just have to be folded into a bigger deal. You can't trade someone that was aggregated in a trade. Now, there are ways around that with trade exceptions and stuff, but I don't know. Guys, who are we missing here? What are we missing from a deals perspective? Steve McGee wants to know what the Bulls should get. I don't think they have a move to make. I really don't. Because it all comes down to whether or not Patrick Williams is coming back this year and whether or not you think that's worth it. They don't to me, I'm trying to trade Nikola Vucevic for something that fits better. They're not looking at it like that. So I don't think anything happens for Chicago unless they're trying to go after a Jerami Grant or a Harrison Barnes. I mean, the Bulls can't go for Turner unless they're not keeping Vooch. There's no way for that. They're not. You don't trade for Nikola Vucevic and trade out young players and picks and then trade Vooch for basically nothing just to get Turner. So that's just not happening. Frank, yeah, I believe the Bucks are done. They don't really have enough to be able to pull anything off. We've got 4 minutes to go. We're going to hang around a little bit after 3 o'clock just in case everything goes truly haywire. But I do want to say right now, we've got 1,200 people in here. We've got 586 likes. You guys have been fantastic. This show has been an immense success. I really can't ask for anything more. It's been a pleasure to do this for you guys. I wish that I could do a trade deadline show more frequently, but it's been amazing to have you guys here. But we're going to hang out. And we usually see deals trickle in at the deadline. So we'll stick around until it seems like nothing else is coming in, and then we'll get out of here. But this has been great. I'll be honest. I think the Pistons are making a really big mistake by not making a trade. We didn't. Yeah, Diego, you could not be more wrong. He will not be stapled to the bench in the playoffs. That's an asinine thought process. Jordan, my bad. I don't know why that's auto playing, but it's going to keep auto playing. I think. I like that Derek White deal to Boston. I'm surprised there's not more coming in. I really am. All right, I'm going to move that Twitter bar to a different side of the screen now and not share that piece. I think that's probably better, just in case. There we go. That'll be better for us. No, nobody really needs to see it. Fab, I would say that I like the deal more for the Nets than the Sixers. Shlomo, did the Suns even make a deal other than getting rid of Jalen Smith? Bum, bum, bum. Jeremy, what's going on, man? What do you guys want to see? What can we still look at? We've got 1 minute to go before everything is done. We're still waiting to find out if anything else breaks. Let's see. I cannot believe the Lakers have not tried to improve their team at all. That's a tweet just coming from Greg Ehrenberg recently, and I wholeheartedly agree. Houston is trading Daniel Tice to the Celtics. We've seen this one before, guys. That is not all that interesting. That is not all that interesting. I don't even know who's going to be in this deal. Tice makes like $5 million, right? I don't even know why Tice would do this. Yeah. Oh, Tice makes 8 this year, 9 in 23-24. Team option in 24-25 for another 9.5. So who the hell is going out for Boston? Hell, they wouldn't trade Schroeder, right? It can't be Schroeder. I mean, Schroeder makes the amount of money that makes this trade make more sense. Is this going to get lumped into the Josh Richardson deal in some way? Dennis Schroeder to the Rockets for okay, so it is. Why in the world would the Houston Rockets be trading for Dennis Schroeder? What is involved in this deal? What is involved in this deal? So, make me understand this. What the hell do they need Daniel Tice for? They have Horford. They have Grant Williams. They have Robert Williams. What is Daniel Tice doing here? Like, obviously, if is Houston going to give up a pick in this? I mean, they should probably be giving up a first-round draft pick to get off of Daniel Tice's contract here. This can't just be Schroeder for Tice. There's no way Boston's taking on Dennis Schroeder, or there's no way Boston's taking on an additional $3 million from Tice over Schroeder this season, $9 million for Tice next season. It's a team option in 24-25, which I'm quite confident they're not going to pick up, but maybe it's not a first. Maybe it's like 2 seconds, or maybe like, I don't know if Houston has their own second. But it can't just be straight up, because that is $9 million of negative value for Daniel Tice next year. The Celtics do not want that $9 million on the books. I mean, I guess it's good for like contract aggregation next season, but why? I just don't understand why. I wonder if it's going to fold in differently with maybe some of these other deals. We're at the deadline now, but we're still waiting to see more stuff pop up. I'm just waiting for more details here. No one's really mentioning it. Paul Kang, the Derek White trade is just a great asset play by Boston. I mean, if you're able to get Derek White and just swap out Josh Richardson, I think that's a pretty easy swap. Jerami Grant remains with the Detroit Pistons as the NBA trade deadline ends. This is per Shams Charania. Grant and the Pistons have comfortability with each other moving forward. I think the Detroit Pistons have made a pretty big mistake here. They're not playing for anything. There's no reason to be keeping players that are more beneficial elsewhere. All right, so Houston's getting Cantor and Bruno Fernando. So that makes a little bit more sense. So it's Enes Freedom makes 1.7. Bruno Fernando makes 1.7. So that makes all of the contracts for this year work. But still, why would Boston be interested? I mean, I guess they're just thinking he's going to be like a rotation big in the playoffs. But why would you want to take on Daniel Tice's money next season? For what reason? Okay, Diego couldn't be more wrong with that, but whatever you say. I mean, to be fair, Eminem, it's not like the Lakers had a lot of ability to do anything anyway. Arcathelza, yes. The Pistons still have Olynyk. Yeah, the Mavs released Moses Brown. Obviously, that doesn't matter. He wasn't really playing anyway. So right now, we're just sort of waiting to see if anything else pops up. I think we're going to go out with a bit of a whimper here. Ruh-roh. Oh, he's still there. No deal for the Lakers per Woj. They're going to focus on the buyout market. I'm shocked that Eric Gordon's not going anywhere right now. I feel like a lot of guys didn't move that I actually thought were going to move. Anything new popping up? Nope. Still nothing. David, Drummond to the Nets is very meaningless for basketball. Do I think Schroeder starts for the Rockets? That would surprise me. I don't know how you put him ahead of Kevin Porter Jr. or Jalen Green. Why do the Hornets want Harrell? Because they don't want Plumlee is my guess. But I don't really get that one either. Plumlee makes 9.5 this year, free agent next year. I'm assuming Montrezl Harrell just becomes their starting center for 2022. No, Trez is on a expiring. Now I actually don't know. I don't know. Get a little bit of extra depth because anytime something happens to Plumlee, they got to go to Nick Richards. So I get the idea of wanting to go to Harrell. It's just I don't love the fit. I mean, it's great offensively. It's terrible defensively. Yeah, Drummond to the Bucks wouldn't make any sense either, man of God. You guys got to remember, Andre Drummond's not very good. Michael Roundtree. Denver doesn't need a point guard. They just need to wait until their point guard stops being hurt. No new news coming in. I'm figuring we're out of here at 3:15 if we don't get anything else. You guys being here with 1,200 of you, 650 likes. Really doesn't get any better than this. I'm really, really surprised at how little teams did. No deals for the Knicks per Woj. No new news. Christian, no, I'm not playing DFS tonight. I mean, the Rockets might buy out Schroeder. I don't know who would want him. It's not all that interesting of a buyout candidate. Yeah, I mean, now that Jerami Grant's in Detroit, you definitely want to play a bunch of him on FanDuel at whatever the hell stupid price he had. I don't really see a fit for Schroeder anywhere. I mean, clearly, yeah, back to the Lakers is a thing, but I don't know. That's pretty unappealing. I mean, let's not forget here. He's Dennis Schroeder. Like, we're talking about a guy that wasn't all that good for the Lakers either. So, I don't know. The Lakers have 15 players right now per Bobby Marks, which means they would need to create a roster spot in some way. So it's not like they could just, whoever they get in the buyout market, they're going to have to cut somebody. Chandre, wrong again, as per usual. It's nice to see, though. Yeah, there is. I mean, Dennis Schroeder's 28 years old. He's 54% true shooting this year, which is actually better than it normally does. 54% true shooting last year, which was one of the worst rates of his career. He can't make a shot at the rim last year for the Lakers. Shot 33%. Why are we acting like he was good for the Lakers last year? Because he wasn't. Why am I not playing today? I got a buddy in town. We're just hanging out. Yeah, I'm sure Schroeder remembers turning down his $60 million deal. Let's see. Yeah, no. Jizzy D. Yeah, I'm a little surprised that the Rockets didn't do more. That was kind of surprising. But I don't know. Still waiting for a couple more minutes to see if anything trickles in, but I think it doesn't appear that we're going to be getting any sort of interesting deals after this. We got the one that we were looking for. James Harden and Ben Simmons, and that was everything here. Oh, trust me, I remember you, Jizz Dragon. I promise. I promise. Yeah, look, we got the Harden deal and the Simmons deal, and that gave us 45 minutes of me and Laffy chatting it up. Whoa, Michael Roundtree, that's a good point. I cannot believe that the Sacramento Kings didn't trade Rashawn Holmes. Do I think that Porzingis makes Beal want to stay in DC? Probably not. I can't imagine it would. Do I think the Rockets buy out Dennis Schroeder? I mean, they don't need to. Like, he's not all that valuable, but, you know, it depends how much money he's willing to give back, I guess. Could be. I don't know. Detroit Tigers. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis wasn't the answer. I don't know if Maxi Kleber and Spencer Dinwiddie are, but I don't know. It's not like Kristaps Porzingis was getting it done. So maybe try to rehab Davis Bertans. I think that's really the only way that you could look at it. Rockets are waiving Enes Kanter freedom. No surprise there. Playing alongside a Şengün was probably going to be a little complicated. I mean, for the big question here, can Davis Bertans get back to last year's 39% from three, or 2019 and 2020, where he shot 42 and 43% from three? If Davis Bertans can shoot 39% or more from three again, that's an important piece to have alongside Luka Doncic. Well, like, it's quite obvious that Porzingis wasn't working all that well here for Dallas. This just ends now. 28% usage this year. And let me be clear, he was playing pretty well. You just never know when he's going to be out there. Never played more than 57 games in a season. He was shooting 28% from three this year, which is abysmal. So I want to touch on this. Dub K123. Luka can't play next to a ball-dominant guards. That's why Dennis Smith's career didn't go anywhere. Makes no sense. No, you got that all wrong. Luka doesn't have to play next to ball-dominant anything. Luka is the ball-dominant guard. The problem with Dennis Smith Jr. is that he can't shoot. You can play again alongside other people that want the ball if they also do things. Dennis Smith Jr. can't shoot, therefore doesn't look good. And obviously didn't look good in the rest of his spots either. Now, it's not as if Spencer Dinwiddie is just some knockdown sharpshooter, but there's a reason it works when Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson are on the floor together, because Jalen Brunson can shoot. I mean, 1 year in Brooklyn, Dinwiddie hit 38% from three, and everything was looking good. Since then, 33, 34, 31, blown out knee, 31. Not the shooter. Not the shooter. Let's see. K-Diz, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Derek White coming off the bench and then they continue to maintain Horford starting. That starting five unit has been one of the best starting fives in basketball. I don't know if they break that up at all. Sean, you have that completely backwards. We've seen Luka basically save the team in the playoffs. His offensive talent is better for the playoffs than the regular season. The Bertans piece is interesting. I mean, if they can rehab him a little bit, that will be helpful. Morgan Smith, I don't think they want Dinwiddie to act as Luka when Luka's off. Omar Ba with a good question. Eric Gordon buyout. So this is why I think it's really crazy that he didn't get traded. And maybe he still gets traded in the offseason. Eric Gordon's got a $21 million non-guarantee for next year. I don't know if it's how partial it is. It might not actually be partial at all. That's incredibly valuable. I'm shocked he didn't get dealt. $2023 non-guaranteed. It gets fully guaranteed. Okay, it can't get fully guaranteed. Exit Screaming wants to know why so much love for Boston. To me, this is why. I'll bring this up on the screen again. This is something we talked about on the strategy show recently. But if we look at lineups this season where teams have played at a minimum 200 minutes together, the Boston Celtics, at least earlier this week, 200 possessions, but same story. The Boston Celtics, it was the third best lineup of all lineup combinations. Let's see if that's still the case. No, it's second now. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams in 542 possessions have the second best plus minus of any other team in the league that has a 5-man unit that's played 200 possessions. They're a 70th percentile offense and a 98th percentile defense, at which point it is the best defense in basketball that has played 200 minutes, 200 possessions together. They have given up 88.1 points per 100 possessions. That is lethal. Absolutely lethal. Now, there is a bit of three-point shooting luck. Teams are shooting 29% from three against Boston. You would expect that to go up. You would expect the net rating to go down. But ultimately, we're still talking about one of the 5 to 10 best 5-man units in the league. That's hard to pass up on. By the way, Luka, Jalen Brunson, Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell plus 27 in their 200 possessions. Well, guys, it looks like we're not getting any more deals. I think that the trade deadline is over. We've been going live. We're down under 1,000 people now. We've been live for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Chat is just a steady stream of messages. Frank, whoa. My thoughts on why the Hawks didn't deal Collins? Because he's really good. JD, no, Kevin Love's not going anywhere now. I'm fascinated by this deadline. I'm fascinated by the lack of deals that have happened here today. I don't know where we go from here, though. I just got a really good DM from one Ship My Money. I think that we're going to have to pack it in here, guys. It's 3:20 right now, I think. Who did I expect to get traded that I think could get bought out? I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know right now. What do I think the fantasy impact is on Harden and Embiid? I mean, naturally, Embiid takes a hit. He's going to be a little overpriced for the next week or two. I don't think it really changes anything for Harden. They should both look really good, generally speaking. I'm really surprised that Rashawn Holmes didn't get traded today. That's my biggest surprise of the day. That makes no sense to me. So, alrighty. I think we're going to pack it in, everybody. If we get another deal, my apologies. Look to my Twitter for updates. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this one. This is my favorite piece of content every year. We're absolutely doing this one again later this year, or sorry, next year or whatever. Maybe we'll do one for the first day of free agency Maybe we can do one of those in the middle of the summer. That'll be fun. But for now, that is it, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button on your way out the door. That is it. The trade deadline is complete.